This week in comic books, we're going to talk about Absolute Superman. Oh, this is good. We're also going to talk about modern sci-fi in comic books today. We're going to talk about how your boy here got tricked because I judged a book by its cover without looking at it.
Uh-oh.
Failed on that miserably. And we're going to talk about this kind of weird childlike comic book that just came out. We're going to talk about all that and a few other things, but as always, I have to try to save some coffee because I made these videos and I got quite a few of them and I'm kind of rotating them through. So, coffee time. Here we go. Hey, you wonderful weirdos. Welcome back. So let's just go ahead and kick this off with the good list. Pick of the week right up off the bat. This is a great comic book. I like this direction that they're taking. And it's a good example of how comic books evolve over the years. Different topics and themes in a society tend to make their way into comic books. And this one is specifically focusing on more of a classism type of thing. Major corporations taking over areas and getting slave wages to people to make them work hard and things like that. And yes, that is a thing that happens in the world. There's no sense in denying it and using over exaggerated examples of capitalism. It does happen. The blood diamond trade was a thing, and people down in South America and places like that generally fall victim to this kind of stuff. It's not always a major American corporation either. It's pretty worldwide. But in this one, what if Superman came to Earth? He was slightly older than being the baby when he originally came here, and that's the thing that he kind of wants to battle and help these workers out and things like that. It's interesting. It's an interesting take, and I really like that. And I kind of see this shift in comic books where this is kind of becoming the focus now. And I can get on board with that as long as you keep, comic book themes and tropes and kind of make it feel like it's a comic book versus a documentary on somebody's opinion. I'm on board with it all the way. I absolutely enjoyed this. You're going to see things that you recognize, like Peacekeeper, the character being more like an army fraction or security force at this point, or mercenary group. Things along those lines. You're going to see something with Brainiac coming in. It's going to be slightly changed a little bit, and I'm kind of okay with this. I like seeing things that I can kind of attach to as far as comic books going, being somebody who's read comic books for a while now. But I also like this kind of, fresh breath of, hey, if circumstances were different, would our heroes and villains, how would they perceive it, or how would they be different? And I like that, because as things change, so should our characters at the same time. And I thought they did a fantastic job. I forgot, I'm sorry. Pick of the week. All right. Moving on. Little Batman, month 1. This is interesting. So, we're familiar with the year 1 story, where we kind of rehash or kind of revisioned the whole Batman thing of what he started. In this one, we get more of a Damian Wayne, right? The newer Robin. We kind of get his take on, in a very cartoony way, I might add. This is a child's book, by the way. I'm surprised it made this list. You should be too. But it kind of looked at, what is your responsibility, right? Being the son of Batman in it, and balancing the nighttime action and all the things that little kids love about their superheroes and still having to maintain a status quo in society in some way. I think it took it even deeper than that. Well, his wish is going to come true because Bruce Wayne got kidnapped. He should be able to take care of himself, but it's a child's book. So let's see what Damian Wayne does in this. Again, for the younger viewer, but I like the messaging and themes behind it. So definitely, it's on the good list. talking about maturity and moving on, we get Plastic Man. I've been enjoying this series. I know it's not for everybody out there, but I really like this. The guy with the shady past as a huckster, con artist type of guy gets superpowers, decides that he wants to be taken seriously, but how can you do that when you have such a past of being this other person? Like, how would you evolve if nobody takes your involvement seriously? And it really does kind of focus on that in here heavily, and how frustrating it can be when nobody takes you seriously or hears you in any way. I think a lot of people can relate to that, especially content creators and things like that. To get on YouTube, yeah, you got to be a little outrageous. You got to be a little funny. Sometimes you're going to talk about things that, other people will roll their eyes at and say you're just doing drama. But at some point, you're going to want that shift to be taken as a serious content creator or something like that here on YouTube. And with everything going on in the comic book community, I kind of stay out of it. But I see this. I see you creators out there like, I want to be taken seriously as somebody can interview or create content or something like that. And then the Plastic Man story comes out, and I'm like, yeah, I can see this. So relative to today, but still a great story, even if you're not a content creator out there. And it's just great messaging, and I like it. So definitely like this book. And the decisions that have to be made in it, right? We're kind of battling ethical and moral decisions in this. Do we kill superheroes to save a son? It's a hard choice, right? Along with all the other, it's just maturity at the end of the day, but it's still solid. And in this one, Plastic Man quit the JSL because, again, they're not taking him seriously, and he has to go make a hard decision about a Metal Man. Does the last Metal Man die because he needs a nuclear explosion to save his son? That's a rough one. From Image Comics, we get FML. Now, I don't know what FML stands for. I'm not sure if it was explained in the book. It wasn't in any of the dialogue or narration. Maybe it was something you were supposed to pick up. But this kind of deals with, I assume, to be modern teenagers. We don't have any modern teenagers in this house. We have young adults, we have babies, and we have elementary and middle school kids in our family. We don't have the age group that this is in. So you're looking at high schoolers, right? We don't have any high schoolers around here. And it takes place, it's a weird story. It's a weird story. It takes place in a weird place, Portland, with weird kids, kind of heavy metal, goth, right? Outside the normal society, right? The edgy kids, right? And dealing with weird stuff like magic and heavy metal music and things like that. And, of course, them stumbling upon a spell to make themselves better rockers. And how does this work out? We're about to find out, because a lot of this is journaling, right? A young boy's journaling, and then you get the action and the day-to-day interactions with him and his friends and even his mother. It's weird. The reason why it made the good list instead of just me throwing it off into the bad list is I cannot relate with a high schooler today by no means whatsoever. And that's not to say anything bad about people today. Generations are generations, and they all change. So that's not it. It's just, I don't know. I thought it was, I guess, maybe a little bit more of an exaggerated insight to how youth work today. I say it exaggerated, not on point, right? Because that's a comic book. I don't know. It has some weird, just enough weirdness to it to where you can't hate the book. I think that's the ultimate key there. All right, moving on. Cruel Universe. Modern sci-fi horror packaged into comic books today, but still paying the proper homage to the ones that came before it. Like, look at that cover. That is cool. In here you get 4 stories. You say your traditional 3. One's really short. One in there I didn't really comprehend what was going on in it. It wasn't the subject matter that confused me. It was the way the art was depicted and the way the story was going. I kind of had a hard time depicting exactly what was going on. But the other 3 stories in it, I was like, oh, you just made fun of society as a whole. And I like that. It's really good. I enjoyed it. Oh, so yeah, this happened to me. So I bought a comic book. Now, I have not been reading the Venom or Venom War. When I first started them, I reviewed them on here. Wasn't my taste. Wasn't my thing. And then as I'm going through, I saw this cover, and I was like, oh, I remember that from the movie. That was a movie thing. They're taking something from the movie. And I thought it was about this horse thing here. You can see it says Venom Horse. Black gooey. I didn't read that little thing down there where it says Venom War issue number 4. So yeah, I picked this up thinking I was going to get some weird horror story or something, and now it was just issue 4 of the Venom War, and I had no idea, other than issue 1, 2, I did not read 2 and 3, I dropped it after 1, so in here you just get a bunch of symbiotes fighting other zombie symbiotes, and it's a big deal that Eddie, Brock, and Dylan are merged together and a symbiote at the same time. Like, it's the reason why I dropped the book to begin with. It's just convoluted. It's layer on top of layer on top of layer. And then a lot of action scenes. That's actually kind of cool. But for the most part, I'm just kind of lost in the story. So again, it's not a criticism of the entire series. It's just the issue. And when you pick it up out of context, it's going to make this list. So that's all I have for this week. That's right, I only got 6 books this week. Kind of a busy week for me, but other than that, I don't have anything other than that. Oh, if you haven't checked out the latest Evil Layer projects and builds, I made something for Geeked Out with Roscoe over there. You can definitely check that out, and I'm working on the next project now, which should be ready at the end of November. So definitely check out Evil Layer projects and builds. Love to have you over there. If you know some techniques, or maybe you're like, hey, you didn't have to do it that way, that channel is completely open for that kind of criticism, help, assistance, whatever you want to call it. That's why it's there. So definitely let me know if you know a better way to make something. I'm always looking for advice on that channel. Always. So that's really the end right there. So I'm going to get out of here. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.